Hi there everyone, it's Sarah-Fay from Earth Spirit and the Witch of Nature Magic. So just with another workshop for you, and this one is called Moon Phases. So this is all about the moon and the different phases and what you can do during those different phases, like what spells you can do, etc. So let's begin. I hope you enjoy. So when you think of the moon, what do you think of? Some people think, when you think of the full moon or the moon, some people think of the energy, some people think of the full moon spooky, like owls with the full moon. They always seem to put owls with the full moon in pictures. Wolves howling and werewolves and that sort of thing. Halloween, there's always a full moon. So the moon has got a lot more meaning to it than that. So it was actually made when the earth was made, so it's very, very old. And the reason why we talk about the dark side of the moon is actually because there's one side of the moon that we never see. It's always facing away from the earth and it's always in the darkness. So that's where that saying comes from, and I think there's a Pink Floyd song or album or something called The Dark Side of the Moon. So when you look at the moon, some people see a face like the man in the moon. I always see a rabbit and a little cat having afternoon tea at a little table with their teacups and everything. So some people see different things. It just depends. You can always see different things in the moon. So that's a magical thing too, what you can see in the moon. So it's actually a rock, and it's the reason why we see this beautiful silvery light from the moon is because it's a mirror and it's reflecting the light from the sun. So that's really interesting. So it's a big rock sitting up there, I always picture it like a massive big crystal just sitting up in the sky. And the reason it is round is gravity actually created it to be like a sphere like that. So yeah, some very interesting things about the moon. And what does the moon in general do? So it affects the tides. So the energy of the moon affects the tides of the ocean. It makes everyone a little bit crazy. If you talk to people who work in mental health, it makes them, when there's a full moon, those people get a little bit crazy on that night. So it does affect us in a lot of ways. So its energy affects us. It affects animals, like they change around the full moon. They can change, and like the wolves howl at the moon. Yeah, it affects animals as well. So it's great for cleansing or charging of yourself or your crystals. That's another thing that's really that the moon can do. So you can put your crystals out on a full moon. Not all crystals, some crystals like the sun energy or other ways of cleansing, but it can, it's really good for charging and cleansing. Now for me, it's always had a feminine goddess energy. Some people have said to me that to them it's a masculine energy, but I've always thought the moon's a feminine goddess energy and the sun is the masculine energy. That's just the way I work with it. So it's very sacred to a lot of people, and it has been for a long time. People worship the moon like they worship the sun. It orbits the earth, so it just goes around the earth, which is such a massive big thing. It's amazing when you really think about it, about the whole wide scope of things. It's always linked to goddesses. So you've got moon goddesses, you've got the triple goddess symbol with the moon phases. Yeah, so, and intuition. So it's always linked to intuition, like in the tarot deck, it's sort of like your intuition, but it's also like something's hidden in the shadows, or something's not coming into view for you, or there's something that you're not seeing, or yeah, so it's very mysterious. The moon has always been associated with being very mysterious. So actually the moonlight actually activates our etheric body cells. So that's why it can cleanse your aura, and it can really boost your psychic abilities. So I won't go right into all that, but if you want to look it up or Google it even more and see more information about that. It's very interesting what the moon can actually do. So there's different phases of the moon, so that's what we're going to go through now, the different phases of the moon. So we're just going to go through these 5 main ones that I've drawn here. It's a bit hard to see because of the light from the window, but the 5 phases, which is the dark moon, new moon, waxing moon, full moon and waning moon. So that's what we're going to go through today. Some people say there's 8 main phases, so they include the gibbous and the disseminating and the balsamic, 3rd quarter and 1st quarter, waxing, new moon and full moon. But I just do the 5 that's behind, and that's what we're going to do today. Okay, so let's start with the dark moon. That's when the moon is completely not visible. So it's a great time to gaze at stars and see lots of stars because the sky's really dark. It's a great time to do divination of any kind, so tarot, crystal scrying, any kind of divination at all that you want to do, psychic work, all that sort of thing. And it's a great time to go within and work on shadow work or your shadow side. So because this moon is completely in shadow and it's dark moon, it's a great time to work on your shadow side. So that I've got a whole another workshop on that, all about working, introduction to shadow work, so if you're interested. So you can also do spells to get rid of certain things about yourself you do not need anymore. So letting things go about yourself that you just don't need and don't want in your life anymore, or you want to balance out a bit more. You don't necessarily have to get rid of them totally, but you might want to just balance them out more. So that's the dark moon. So there's a lot of things you can do with that. You can do deep meditation, you can do healing on yourself and working on yourself, and go out and just sit outside and completely enjoy the night sky with the stars and everything like that. You can see them so clearly. Okay, then we got the new moon. So the new moon is this one here, which is just when you first see the tiny, you first see a tiny little slither in the sky, like the tiny tip of your fingernail, I always think. So it's the height of taking away and starting anew. So that's when you need to do new beginning spells, or manifesting for new beginnings, or starting new projects, new businesses. Make a list of wishes that you would like to bring in and around that time. So make a list of wishes that you would like to transform into your life, and that's a great time to do a spell for that when there's a new moon. Anything that you are starting new, a new relationship, new business, new career, new anything new, you can do something to make that stronger and to make that work around that time. So yeah, spells for new beginnings, new business venture, new relationship, anything like that. So that's a really good time for new things too. So you might want to coincide with things like that around the new moon. So that's the new moon, the little, you can't really see, sorry, because of the light coming through the window, but it's just the little slither. So the waxing moon, which is the 3rd phase here. So when it's getting a bit bigger. So the moon's energy is building and it's getting stronger, it's getting brighter and bigger. Spells for growth, abundance coming in and healing for yourself. Bring things you want into your life at this time. So it's a great time to build on things that you want in your life. And if you've already got a relationship, build on that to make it stronger. Feel your energy growing as well. So this is when your energy will grow because the moon's waxing. If you really get connected into the phases of the moon, you will start, your energy will start following the moon phases, and your body will just link in with the moon as well. So bring in positive energy when there's a waxing moon. Build your business, get your relationships stronger, and build your energy. So all those things you can do when there's a waxing moon, so the energy's getting stronger. It's a great time to do things like that around then. Okay, so after the waxing moon, we've got the full moon here, which is just your full moon, obviously. The magical full moon that everyone thinks is so magical. I'm kind of think all the phases are magical because I just love the moon and follow the phases. So that's the but the full moon is the height of psychic power when there's a full moon. It's really strong energy, great for charging and cleansing, and like I said, yourself, your crystals. It's a culmination climax for fulfillment and full abundance. So that's when something you've put out there before is actually fulfilled in the total amount of fulfillment. So it's at its peak kind of thing. It should sort of finish up at its peak around that time when there's a full moon. Completion of a project are very powerful for spells to do around a full moon. So yeah, that's the completion of a project, but very powerful to do spells. That's why a lot of people do rituals and spells when there's a full moon. It's a very magical time to dance and soak up the energy, but sometimes it can make you feel agitated, so you've got to be really careful around that energy. Doesn't always make you feel good, depending, the different full moons can have different effects on you. So if it's not making you feel good, you need to sort of hide away from it. Well, that's what I do, just to protect yourself. But when it's making you feel really good, then it's okay to go out and soak it up and everything. So yeah, just be careful around that. And sometimes if you wear moonstone, when there's a full moon, it can agitate you because moonstone is very strong. When there's a full moon, it's connected to the full moon, the energy becomes stronger, and it may also be too much for you and make you agitated. So yeah, you just got to be careful of that too. So it's a great time to finish a project around a full moon because it's the completion. It's if you're selling a house after renovating, like after you've renovated during waxing moon, then it's a good time when you would do a spell, or when you can sell the house around that time. So yeah, very good good time for that. So you could do spells to sell your house and that sort of thing. Build energy. Build your energy to the fullest at the full moon. So it's going to build when the moon's waxing, and then when it's full, it's at your fullest. Okay, so that's the full moon, and then the last one is your waning moon, which is the very last one here. So the waning moon is when the energy is shrinking after the full moon. So your energy may feel lower at this time when your body connects right into the moon energies. So shrinking back down, because its energy's shrinking back down, so you might feel like your energy's shrinking away as well. Great time for taking away of things you don't need. So banishing spells to take away negativity, take away things that you don't need. Cleansing away negativity, I just said that. Banish what you don't want, so what you do want comes in. So get rid of things you don't want, so what you do want comes in. And also it's a great time if you want to sort of work on getting rid of a negative person around you when there is a waning moon. So taking away anything to take away. If you want a person to stop bothering you, if you want to take away negative energy, doubts and worries that you've got, you might work on things like that. Letting go of something, a job or a relationship, all that sort of thing. Okay, then we've got eclipses. So eclipses with new moons and full moons, they're a time to recreate yourself, change your life. So eclipses around new moons and full moons. Change your life, recreate yourself, to start something fresh, get on track to where you want to go when there's an eclipse. Spell for a whole new life. So create a new life, change ourselves for the better. So that's a really good thing to work on when there's an eclipse, something you can work on when there's an eclipse around. Okay, so some of the crystals you can use when working with the moon, the two that I really love is moonstone, which is this one here. That's got black tourmaline through it as well, but that's a moonstone sphere. $79, sell in my shop Earth Spirit. So So moonstone is for intuitive new beginnings, new moon, so calming, goddess and feminine energy. So it can get, like I said, quite powerful when there's a full moon, so you've got to be careful with that. Okay, and the other crystal that I always like to use when working with the moon is selenite. You can see how they're both very moon-like, like that's the silvery moon sort of looking, and the moonstone is very like the moon, the colour of it and everything. So selenite's very magical too. It's for intuition as well. And crown chakra, calming, protective, and great for scrying when you've got a sphere or something like that of it. It's for magic, fertility, and psychic powers. So that's the two crystals you could use when working with the moon. So some of the goddesses and gods that are known as moon goddesses and gods is Artemis, Diana, Ceridwen, Hecate, and Thoth. So there's some of the moon goddesses that you can work with the moons, and there's a lot more. That's just some of them. And when you've got really wanting to soak up that moon energy, you can do a meditation to draw down the moon and really pull in that beautiful energy of the full moon. So I will do a meditation on that as one of my other videos or workshops or meditation videos later, just to show you how to draw down the moon. I usually stand in the goddess stance. Basically that's all it is. I can just go through it quickly with you now. You just ground yourself, so really connect your feet into the ground and relax, taking your deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. 3 deep breaths. And then you can just feel the connection with the moon energy. And I usually say something like, I now draw down the power of the beautiful full moon. I bless the moon. Thank you to the moon energy. Please charge, cleanse, and regenerate, re-energize my body. And just hold your hands up in the goddess. This is a goddess pose. And you just feel that full moon energy coming down through the palms of your hands and down right through your body. And this would be great to do under a full moon at night. And I ask the God and Goddess, the goddess of the full moon, to come through and protect me, charge me, and draw down that energy. And you may actually pick a particular goddess or god, if you like, that you'd like to work on to draw that energy down. And ask, well, I'd probably do this, I would cast a circle first of protection around you before you actually do this. And as part of a full moon circle, I would do this. I won't do it now because it will take too long with the video, but I will do another video with that in it if I get a chance. Just doing a basics circle casting, and then a basic drawing down of it. But I've basically covered it for you. You may want to research more into it, because this is just a basic showing you the basics of it. There can be a lot more to it. If you want to go into bringing in other gods, goddesses, you might want to say a little chant that you say when you're drawing down the moon, that's a lot more detailed and specifically personalized for you. So yeah, that's up to you how you say it. You can say it how you want, but you're basically just asked to draw down the moon's energy through you to charge you and cleanse you and give you protection. And then at the end you would thank the full moon and say thank you and I would say something like blessed be or so mote it be at the end. But also casting a circle and everything beforehand. So we'll go into that in another workshop in more detail. But also something that I wanted to mention, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but the American triple goddess symbol is the one like that we're all used to. Can you see that? Yeah. And then the one in Australia should actually be like that, because our waxing moon goes that way and our waning moon goes that way. So can you see that? Oh yeah, you can see that. So yeah, that's an interesting point. But I mean, I think it looks really pretty that way, but our southern hemisphere way should actually be like that for a triple goddess symbol. So that's interesting. Okay, so that made me all relaxed, even though that was just a little bit of general information about doing a meditation to draw down the moon. Like I said, that was just a really quick demonstration. There's a lot more to it, and you'd say a lot more. I'm just quickly doing that off the top of my head to give you a basic idea of what you can do, but there's a lot more. You can say some beautiful chants and some beautiful verses and things when you're doing it. So I might try and do another workshop about that. So doing a full moon circle will be called something like that. Anyway, so that's all about the moon. Not everything about the moon, but about all the phases and what you can do during those phases and everything. So I hope you enjoyed that, and it gave you a bit of a rundown. There's a lot more information that you can go into. This is just a basic beginner's sort of rundown of the phases. I hope you got lots of information out of that and it was interesting for you. So thank you for watching, and next time there's a full moon or whatever phase of the moon, make sure you enjoy it and really pick up on those energies that are around at that time when there is the different phases of the moon. See if you can feel those different energies coming through. So thank you so much for tuning in and purchasing this workshop and watching, and I'll talk to you next time with the next workshop. So blessed be and take care, and thanks for watching. Bye.